This is The Focus Group with business insiders Tim Bennett and John Nash.
I fought worse monsters than you for years in Hollywood. I know how to win the hard way.
We're all business, except when we're not.
Don't f with me, fellas! This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
John always knows how to keep the spirit going, John. Hey everybody, welcome to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host John Nash. We're all business except when we're not. We hope all of you are having or had a very Merry Christmas, having a happy holiday, and a safe New Year as we steam towards 2018. This is our last show of the year, and John and I decided to do something different, so we're going off format. It's something we call the Executive Summary, which you could find on our YouTube channel. And we found out one of our friends from the Focus Group, who's been on the show, I think, maybe over the 9 years, several times. Anyway, she's in town, and so we invited her in to just have a kind of top-level business discussion. So Kelly McDonald, welcome to the Focus Group.
Hi, Tim. Hi, John.
Welcome,
Happy
welcome.
holidays. Been a great year.
Merry belated Christmas,
Yes.
and a early Happy New Year, since we're right in the middle of the two holidays.
I know, I love
right
it.
now.
It's a great time of year.
Yeah.
I haven't, did everybody have a Merry Christmas?
Yep. Yeah.
Traveling was fine, everything
Hello.
was, yeah. I'm not big, I guess as you get older, you're not so big on Christmas anymore.
Oh, I think it's a great time of year. I just don't want to do anything about it. And you know what I mean by that. It's
Simpler
like,
is
as you
better.
get older, I would be happy putting the Charlie Brown tree up with the one ornament on it, and no gifts, and celebrating the day, and but then I'm not a really good American consumer, am I? Because I'm not adding to the corporate.
No, you have to
line.
buy, John. You got to spend.
Buy. Yeah.
Before we get into our chat, though, Kelly. So Kelly is a very sought after, or one of the most sought after speakers regarding marketing trends, multicultural diversity marketing. Right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Am I selling it right or no?
Yes. No, it's good. It's good.
You're an expert.
Yes, sure. Yes, I am.
So, but you said you had a gift for us.
I do have a gift for you.
what do
Thank
you-
you so much. Every time I'm here, you always give me a gift, and it's usually chocolate, which is
Or
amazing.
socks.
Or socks, both of which I love. But this time I have something for you, and it's from Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually well known in Colorado, so I hope you like
Are they
it.
Chiba Chews?
It's Law Whiskey.
Wow.
There's 2 bottles in here. One is called 4 Grain Straight Bourbon, because nothing says holidays like
Bourbon.
getting hammered, right?
Manhattan.
And Sikal Straight Rye. So there's 2 bottles in here, and you guys are going to have to divide it up, and I don't know
okay.
who gets what, but here you go, and it's from Colorado.
thank
and
you.
I drag that sucker all the way. It's
heavy.
It's
I know.
very heavy.
That's,
Well,
that makes a carry-on bag real.
I'll take whichever one defers because John, Bob's probably going to want, I don't know, would Bob want rye or bourbon?
Well, what are you using in Manhattan? Bourbon?
You could use either.
Oh, really?
And I'm told these are very good, like very
So
smooth,
I
very
think
good.
that you could pick for us, but we could each take one.
You have to each take one, yeah.
Thank you.
You're
thank
very
you.
welcome. And there wasn't a carry-on. You can't carry liquids like that on. So I'm like putting it in a Ziploc bag and then wrapping
Can I
it in
just say
a
that-
towel. And
As you said, and these are direct from Colorado. I thought vaping pens.
Why? And I'm thinking, shoot, those edible things.
I brought you some
edible
weed.
pod, vaping pens.
Have you done the edibles out in Colorado?
I'm
or you know
not-
people that have?
oh, for sure. And so here's just for the
I don't want to
listeners.
implicate. I know you're trying to
No,
book.
just for the
2018.
listeners, hypothetically speaking, if you were to actually do edibles, one thing I have learned is that less is more.
Oh, yes.
Like you
Yeah.
buy a little candy bar, and let's say those little marks on a Hershey bar.
Wait.
Yeah.
You see Tim looking in the booth?
Yeah. So, so
Let's say we had a cough drop snafu, a Tootsie Roll that Tim thought was a cough drop that was
I
given.
took one and my whole day was gone.
yeah, no, I've heard about people popping
Yeah.
the gummy bears, like they're gummy
John even put an ad
bears,
on, by the way, for
and
our-
like being in the fetal position in the corner. Oh yeah, no, it's like you start small. What do they say? A half a gram or something. Anyway, the point is, don't. It's
Yeah,
not a
less
candy
is
bar.
more.
It's not a candy bar. It's not a bag of gummies. You know.
Yeah.
So,
I can see where that could go south real quick. Also, Kelly, this is 4 months on the bestseller list.
yeah.
So it's how to work with and lead people not like you. It's part of her I'm Not Like You series, I'll call them. So if we've got 2 copies here, if you'd like to send us a letter. Well, they're even signed. So send us a letter. Send us an email to letters@focusgroupradio. No, what is it? You like Focus Group Radio?
Letters@focusgroupradio.com.
Okay, so send us a letter there, and we'll the first people that get in touch with us, we'll put your names in a hat, and we'll give 2 books away. Is
And
that
then you
good?
get a signed bestseller.
Get a signed bestseller. So how did it become a bestseller? Tell us about it.
I think I think the wind was at my back. I didn't know this, but I think when I was writing it, and then by the time it was published, with what's going on in the country with divisiveness, as well as what's literally going on in the world with just working. All of us are working with people who are not like us. It was kind of the wind at my back. I didn't plan it, but I just think the timing on this is just beautiful. And I always say not like you because I don't really like diversity. When I think about working with people not like you, it can definitely be people of a different race or ethnicity or culture or speak another language, but it can also be, let's say you're an introvert and I'm an extrovert. How do I work with you? What if I'm in sales and you're an engineer? I mean,
you're a Star Wars fan, I'm a Star Trek fan.
Exactly.
Not like you.
Right. No, but I mean, we're all.
By the way, that's a huge rivalry. I don't mean to derail the conversation.
Morning people versus night people, whatever the definition is. And so, and I think as managers, managers are increasingly charged with bringing together a diverse team, and how do you do that? And so I talk about tips and tricks for working with people who are not like you, including the number one thing, which is if working with people not like you makes you uncomfortable, that doesn't make you a bad person. Like, I think, no disrespect to HR professionals, but I think sometimes people feel like they can't even express the fact that this is difficult for them because then they're not on the diversity bandwagon from an HR standpoint. And what science has shown is that literally birds of a feather flock together. We do gravitate to people who are like us with whatever that is. And if working with someone who's not like you is difficult, it's not you. It really is hard. It really is hard. You're not crazy. You're not racist. You're not bad. It's hard. And so that's why people avoid doing it.
Is that the same sort of issue, though, as somebody moves to a neighborhood? Or maybe the bigger difference is this. When people, I was reading a study about, we have a lot of Chinese students that still come into this country to schools. They have a horrible time. They get into the schools, but they have a horrible time assimilating in with the American students for a number of reasons.
Right.
And
culture, language,
the criticism has been, well, they all come here and they stay together. And someone said, well, they've got a common language, they have a common culture, and it's that birds of a feather flock together. But how do you fix that? Or what you're saying is sometimes you don't have to fix it?
Well, sometimes you don't have to fix it, but also I think what we have to understand is that we would all do the same in the exact same situation. If you look at American expatriates who go and live abroad, what do? They go where the other Americans are.
When's the football game going to be?
Right.
Yeah. What bar's playing the football game?
Exactly.
Right.
And so I think because we gravitate to what's easy and what's comfortable and what's familiar, and my analogy is always, if you go on vacation, no matter where you go and no matter how great that vacation was, you could have had the best time, had the best food, there's nothing like coming home.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing like coming home after a vacation, no matter how good of a time. So it's natural, and I think from a business standpoint, what we're all struggling with is, okay, how do I work with somebody that I don't really understand how they think? I don't know how to connect with them. So there's that. But then also, and I feel bad because I'm supposed to be like kumbaya, and it's like, no, you have to be respectful, of course, of everybody that you work with, but you don't have to like everyone you work with. You're not going to marry them. You're just working with them. And number two, if you're struggling, it doesn't make you a bad person. And I just feel like when I talk about this a lot, I see the heads nodding in the audience, like people are like, oh, thank you, because they've been made to feel like they're doing something wrong, and they're not. It is hard, and it's not natural for us. We tend to stay with what is familiar.
I would say I agree. That there's two cultures that are intersecting. There's the political firebombing we see every night on the television, which is if you're not us, you're them.
Right.
And I hate you. I can't work with you. This is and that collides with the workforce,
right?
Where the diversity message has been pounded home.
So then diversity gets a bad word.
To the betterment, but I agree with you. I mean, I can see how. You would think that there'd be more like that the political discussion could be more like what you're saying with like the people not like you discussion, which is, okay, I don't agree with you, I'm not going to marry you, but we can talk and make some common ground here. And in the workplace, it's to get a common goal, which is the business or the product.
Bring it back to business. That's the other thing that I always tell people is like, we don't have to agree. I'm not having you over for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or New Year's or whatever it is. I mean, we don't have to hang out on Friday nights. We don't have to socialize. We do have to work on the budget report or whatever, And so if you can just say, we have our differences, we can agree to disagree, but how do we move the ball down the field regarding business? If we have a shared goal, and this is what we're doing as a company or an organization or a team, then what do we have to do to get that ball down the field? And if you just keep bringing it back to business and not letting yourself get sucked into politics or us or them or ideology, it's not that hard to just keep it focused on business, because that's.
Yeah.
But what do you do if there's a fine line of discrimination? Then, right? Because that's a different thing, right? Because if someone says, I don't like working with John, or I don't want to work with Tim because I don't like gay people.
Oh, well, that's unacceptable.
Take gay out and say African American,
right. Muslim,
woman,
whatever.
right? So, and I'm just wondering if does that give somebody a pass?
I don't think there's any company in the world that would honor an employee. I mean, honor an employee's request to or statement of I don't want to work with this person, because what I think most companies, and I think from a business standpoint, it would be, you may not be Muslim, you may not be gay, you may not be black, white, Asian, whatever, whatever it is. You might not be an engineer, you might not be an introvert or whatever, but we have to work together. This is a diverse team. We bring diverse skills. So once again, if you bring it back to business,
right.
the color of your skin shouldn't matter. Your religion shouldn't matter. Your politics shouldn't matter. What is it you're doing on this team, and how does it forward the business goals, and what are we trying to do regarding your skills? There's a reason you're here, right? There's a reason I'm here. Let's say we're working together. So again, you don't have to like me. You don't have to socialize with me, but we have to work together. So I try to tell people, just bring it back to business. I kind of love animals, right? So if you're a hunter, I might not really want to hear your hunting stories, right? No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
and so,
I get it.
it becomes like, well, okay, but if you started telling me about hunting, I might say, you know what, Tim, that's so great. I'm so glad you had a good time on your hunt or your safari, or whatever. But we've got to work on this budget report for John. He needs it by 3. Boom, bring it back to business.
By the way, if it was a safari, I could tell you he didn't have a good time. We've had that safari come up a lot.
Really?
So to go into other areas, this has been the last quarter of this year in particular, of 2017, was jarring and eye-popping in terms of the momentum behind the allegations of harassment.
Stuff.
Me
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
It seems that we're in this
Unless something movement of our day.
Well,
really.
Ish. Because it applies to the private sector, but if you're in government, you seem to get a pass card.
Or entertainment.
Yeah. But if you're in politics, you get a pass card, and you get taxpayer-funded settlements with people that are kept hush-hush until such time as Congress decides to reveal what they paid to people and how they got away with it. But me and Tim actually speculate that it's only a matter of time before this goes into the boardroom and starts affecting major corporations, unless not.
Unless it already has, and we just don't hear about it.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Uber was one of the big.
And there was an article just this past holiday season, about the biggest trend this past year in 2017 for the holidays was the office holiday party being toned down. You know,
we talked on the show right before Christmas.
Yeah, not open bars. Because companies are going, can't afford this. Can't afford.
Well, they don't want to create an environment where something.
Informal environment.
Absolutely, and they're responsible.
An informal environment.
Yes.
The most fun environment of all, right?
So in 2017, how many gigs did you do, speaking arrangements?
I'm not supposed to say gigs. You're not supposed to say gigs.
Oh.
Engagements.
What's wrong with gig?
Apparently, it's not like what we're supposed to say. It
an
denigrates the
Is
event.
a gig like a band?
Yeah, it's yeah.
How many engagements did you handle this year, Kelly?
I did about 55.
Okay,
About
so
55, so
Wow.
is there to take John's point
Tonight makes
further?
56.
Is there one theme that people keep aside from your latest book?
Right.
But have you seen this year in our environment are things different this year than they were previous years in terms of what companies want you to speak about?
And I'm not saying this because of the book, but this is the hottest topic because I think from a company standpoint, it's a safe thing to talk about. It's not political. It's not ideologically based. It's not, and yet companies are going, we kind of got to talk about this, but we don't really want to take a political stance. We don't want to take an ideological stance. We just have to figure out, this is all bubbling up.
How do we work with people?
How do we work? How do we do it? And so there's that. And then I would say that the other thing that I've seen that's a big trend, and I don't think this is a specific topic, but it is what I'm getting asked all the time, is meeting planners are insisting that their audiences leave with actionable, applicable items that they can go do right away. Things that don't cost $1 million, things that don't take a year to get off the ground. So in other words, audiences don't want to just hear like, okay, that's great theory. They want to hear whatever your position is, whatever your point of view is, but then they want to hear, how do I apply this? What am I supposed to go back and do on Monday morning?
You have to give that?
Yes.
Could you give us an example of what you would
Yeah, I'm wondering what the actionable, help a colleague make a cup of coffee.
Bring in donuts.
How dare you make coffee? I don't drink coffee. Didn't you know that? I drink green tea.
I'm Mormon, right? Yeah. So exactly, I don't do caffeine. No, but for example, but I talk about marketing and consumer trends too, and so all my topics aren't this, but. So an action item is, for example, one of the key trends is shorter is better, right? No one has enough time. No one has enough time. So shorten all your emails, shorten all your voicemails, bullet points, white space on an email. If you want your email read, then don't make it this big, long email that when I open it up, I go, oh my God.
When I get an email like that, I literally kind of have to go back to it because you have to dissect everything that's going on. And
if you even go back to it, what happens for a lot of us is we open it up and we see this big, long, honking email. And it looks like work, and I don't mean occupation, I mean like a chore. And we go, you know what, I'll read that later. And we close it, and we don't go back and read it later. Yeah. So my whole point is, if you're taking the time to compose an email and I want you to read it, then make it easy for me to do that. Make it with bullet points, make it with white space so that I can skim it. And that's like, so, I mean, that's such a simple little thing, but when I tell people, make your stuff shorter, make your messages shorter.
I'm guilty of the long text, but that's because I get irritated when somebody's like, bink, bink, bink.
No, so I'm the same way, but Fortune magazine ran a piece about 3 weeks ago, and it was write like your boss for a successful email. And they had these examples of famous executives and what they send out as messages. And it literally was sometimes 2 sentences. If you were really like into the flowery stuff, you'd almost be offended. But the author of the piece said, don't look at it that way. Look at it as action driven. Email is a way to get you information, then you get something back. And it was like, I'm looking forward to the report you're preparing for the meeting tomorrow. Boom. Is there any other stuff you need to complete it? Send. That was kind of the
RE proposal. Green light. Go. I mean, like,
I used to always joke with you about Fred. You remember Fred at Subaru, and I would just get these, it was just like, where are we with this?
Right.
I was like, oh, okay.
But did you read that as?
No, I didn't take any offense to it. He doesn't have a lot of time, and nor do I.
And
so it's, where are we with this? Oh,
the trend that we're seeing.
It wasn't a nasty comment.
No.
The trend that we're seeing.
Some people take it that way if you don't know the person.
If it's a little blunt or a little, and they're like, wait, he was supposed to ask me how my weekend was or something.
See, that's what I'm wondering about.
Pretty day.
No, but what I'm finding is, I mean, from a customer standpoint, if you think about your customers, give them what they want. And while you might want to say, oh, how was your weekend, John? How was your weekend, Tim? At the end of the day, I'm trying to read this and I'm trying to figure out why are you sending me this email? So just make it easy for me, Or, another action item is figuring out ways that you can tweak or customize the customer experience to give people what they want.
Yeah, that's always an action item though. If you're in that kind of a
you could work business. For Comcast or Xfinity. Do you have them?
No.
My biggest pet peeve with them is whenever you have an issue, and you don't call them unless there's an issue, and it's like typical service anywhere. You just want to get your phone back on or your internet working.
You want a solution.
And you spend 5 minutes, particularly if you do the chat, I'm here to help you and make sure that everything is to your satisfaction. I hope and I say, I don't want happy talk. My internet needs to be rebooted.
Right.
Oh, no, that's all cut and paste. They literally
sometimes it's not even a live person, you realize. Sometimes it's robot.
It's a chat bot,
yeah, exactly.
You're kidding me.
No, this is, yeah. If it's canned, like you get these, hi, this is Rodrigo. I'm here to help you.
Right.
Oh, hi, Rodrigo. And then there's a long pause.
I'm sorry. This is.
What is your issue? Yeah. So Groupon.
Yeah.
So Groupon, I had an issue with a Groupon, and I was doing a live chat with them, and I said, I can't get in touch with this merchant, so therefore I can't make an appointment. So therefore, can I just get? I know they don't do refunds. I said, can I just get a credit in the form of Groupon bucks? And they're like, long pause, and then they responded.
How can I help you?
We can give you Groupon bucks. And I said, right, that's what I just asked for. So can I get the Groupon bucks? Yeah. And then they replied, Groupon bucks never expire and can be used on anything. And I was like, right, that's why I want the Groupon bucks. I mean,
that's how you know.
I finally actually asked, I said, is this a robot? Silence. Like, No, like they didn't know how to respond to that. And I said, because seriously, I'm actually just, it's a straight question. Like, may I get this Groupon box? The answer is a yes or a no. You don't,
No, it's AI.
I didn't realize that.
Exactly. Totally
I don't like that. That's even worse.
It's a program. It's interpreting the text, and it's searching for like it goes through an algorithm. Like, okay, if these keywords are here, send this reply back.
It was
I
very
prefer at that point to
frustrating,
be in Mumbai, to get the person in Mumbai. At least they're a real person.
Right.
Hey, we're going to go to a break. Our guest here on this final show of 2017 on our glorious Christmas set with our glorious staff at the
It's so
booth.
pretty.
John, our resident lumbersexual, is even wearing a Santa hat.
Lumberjack sexy.
Lumberjack sexy. Lumberjack sexy. We have Garrett. We have Allie back there. Kelly McDonald's with us. She's the author of the 4 months on the bestseller list, How to Work with and Lead People Not Like You. We're going to take a quick break, come right back, and have more chat with Kelly, so stay with us.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do.
I don't want, I mean,
Kelly can't stop talking. That's what she does for a living. Hey, it's Tim Bennett here with my good friend and co-host John Nash. We've got talker, the big talker, Kelly McDonald joining us. And, this is our last show of the year. And I was talking with John in 2000. We started in 2008.
Yeah.
So it'll be 10 years in March, and you've been kind enough to, whenever you're in the area or through Skype at times and on phone in our old platform, to come and join us. And our listeners always get a lot out of your visits, and so we appreciate here between Christmas and New Year's that you're able to come in and see us. And we don't have a lot of stable. Is it a stable? Can we say we have a stable of Paul Hagen, Aaron McHugh, Kelly McDonald?
You know, I love the term a stable of guests
family.
or performers, because they used to use that in the old days with the studios.
Yeah.
It was the cast and the stable. But I'm not sure if we could do that anymore.
I'm not allowed to say anything anymore.
In our new charged world, what are the words you could actually use now?
Well, do you know you're not allowed to say Eskimo? You can't say Eskimo anymore.
Why not?
So because apparently it's derogative, you're supposed to say Inuit or Native peoples, because Donna Sordula from LinkedIn got in trouble because she had done some presentation or something with LinkedIn Makeover, and everybody got on her case about saying Eskimo. She said, "Oh, you may be the best salesperson in the world. You could probably sell snow to an Eskimo."
right.
But you got Nat King. You have Nat King Cole saying, "Wrapped up like Eskimos." You're not allowed to do that anymore. "Baby, It's Cold Outside." That song has been taken off most playlists this year around the country because it's a guy trying to get a woman to stay.
Right.
She's not so sure she wants to stay. What's in this drink? It's. I really should say, "Baby, It's Cold Outside." They've removed it off of over 200 radio stations this holiday season.
And on the train today coming downtown, they were announcing a service delay or something, and normally it would be ladies and gentlemen, and Tim had done this a while ago. The MTA's changed their language, and now you hear ding ding, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
No, I heard it was like hello everyone.
Hello everyone. Hi everybody.
Today the number one is going to be skipping whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm now everyone. I'm not
Hello, people.
a lady or a
I
gentleman.
find that friendly, though. I find that friendly. Hello, everyone.
Hi everybody.
Yeah.
It's like Ferris Bueller.
Right.
Hey, years ago, we used to have, one of our first producers was Katie Castellano. We adore Katie. And we had another call screener, Caroline was our screener. And we used to call them the girls, and our girls.
23, 22 years old.
And they were fun. They were great to have on. And sometimes we'd say, what do you girls think? We would just like, what do you girls? And they would get on the mics and they would talk. The phones would light up. How dare you call them girls?
They're women, yeah.
And then Katie would go to the mic. She goes, I don't mind being called a girl.
Call me a girl.
Call me a girl.
We have the boys in the booth. Do they mind
Right.
And Allie. Don't forget the ampersand and Allie's
that?
in there,
Being the
too.
boys in the booth?
No, I like it. I'm a boy. It
So
works.
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin originally, and one of the things that we say in the Midwest is you guys. The same way that people in the South say y'all, right?
Right.
And so I was doing a speaking engagement one day, and I said something like, so do you guys want to take a break, or do you guys want to do an interactive exercise? This woman comes up to me at the break, and she's like, I am so offended. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, like, what did I say? No, seriously, I'm like racking my brain trying to think, what did I say? And she goes, when you said you guys, she goes, what about the rest of us? And I said, well, I meant it like inclusively, like y'all, but I can't
You
say
guys.
y'all. Right. Like you
like
guys.
y'all.
And she goes, why don't you say everyone? I mean, like she didn't just express herself. She berated me. And I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know I said it. I said, I'm from the Midwest, and that's a colloquial saying. But I mean, I think if you want to take offense at anything these days, you can.
do it.
You know, you can. And I mean, I think there are those people who have literally a chip on their shoulder, and they're just waiting for someone to say something. I mean, I'm all about inclusiveness and diversity, but at some point, it's like, come on.
Well, I felt sorry for Donna. She's been on the show a bunch, and I understand what she was doing.
Was she
and-
like
and
attacked
it-
on social media or something?
Yeah, and the context, it was about, because how many times have we heard that? You know, he can sell
It's
snow
a
to
an
Eskimo.
expression.
It's a
It's a
She wasn't
canard.
being.
A canard
She wasn't
or
being. She wasn't
was
being
speaking off the
disrespectful,
cuff.
right? Not
Yeah.
being disrespectful, and
Right.
she was mortified. She's like, "Oh my God, I feel horrible about this," and there were a number of people that came to her defense and just said exactly what you did. Is like you almost can't say anything.
Right.
And I think that's probably why you're getting a lot of nods when you do a lot of these presentations to say, you know what, there may be times you stumble, but if you can correct it or you're able to, John, what are you looking at?
Here's one for you. I was out at back in November. I did my graduation from my animation school, and I was sitting next to. Thank you. I was sitting next to this young woman, waiting for a presentation on Blue Sky's new movie Ferdinand to commence. And I wanted to know how old she was, but normally you would say, how young are you? How young or how old are you? Right? But I'm like, so.
What's your age bracket?
So instead I looked at her, I said, how many times have you traveled around the sun? And she looks at me and she says, and she does this face,
Never.
and I said, all right, and she goes, what? I said, you're on Spaceship Earth. How many times your ticket's been punched to ride around the sun? She goes, oh. She goes, that's hysterical. She
love
goes,
that.
She goes 23 times. I'm like, okay, I've been
I
around
love
54
that.
times.
I love that. That's great.
But unfortunately, like selling snow to an Eskimo, how many
Right.
times you've been around the sun, these are all things we
Right.
use as these little conversational bridges that we think we all have the same currency in, right? That now are going to be rewritten. And is that a theme for 2018? Like we have to be like we're going to be policing everything we say? Is that?
Well, I do think that our consciousness has been raised, and that companies, organizations, businesses, and people in general, and society in general, it's about we are all different. There's all different kinds of us, and be kind and be conscious of what you're saying. So, quick example: one of my larger clients, a large global organization who shall remain nameless, had a meeting that they were telling me about with an engineer, and this guy was peacocking a little bit. You know, he's like trying to show the rest of the people in the room that he's the smartest guy or whatever. And so someone had an idea and made a suggestion, and his response was, well, that's the most retarded idea I've ever heard. So hugely offensive comment, right?
That word,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. But here's the deal. No one is excusing what he said, and he was reprimanded. But the point is, he's probably been saying that all his life, and I'm not defending it. No one was defending it.
Yes,
I
I
am
know
sure he
exactly
didn't
what you
even
mean.
know what he
you
was
said,
saying.
yeah.
And so there was a time 20, 30, 40 years ago where you could say something like that and somebody wouldn't even blink, but now people would say, you know what, that's a really unkind, callous thing to say. And so I don't think it's about walking on eggshells. It's more about understanding how the words that you say can land with someone. I mean, I'm betting that guy has never known anyone in his family or circle of friends or in his social circle who has mental disabilities. And we all know that he wasn't mocking mentally disabled people. He's just saying something
Or he
unthinking.
very well may. But look, one of my summer jobs.
You worked at the
I worked at
Southbury-
a school that had on the sign at the side of the road, Southbury School for the Mentally Retarded. I mean, it was.
And
it was
what
a
we're
big
finding
And that
is
sign
that,
is still there.
and what we're finding is, I mean, but you know, I was watching The Nick. I'm binge watching.
Oh,
The
my mom
Nick
loves
right
The
now.
Nick,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
Loves
And
it.
so there's a part in there where they're talking about the school for morons. I mean, literally, and idiots. And so it's like those words, we all know what they mean, but they're not. I don't want to say politically correct. They're not respectful, really. I mean, a person who has mental challenges is mentally challenged.
We can't say moron anymore.
Tim.
No, really.
Well, you can if
Can I
you're
say you're a
actually
moron?
but not if you're mentally disabled. I mean, if you're being
No, but see, but that's the line. The line now, I think it's gone to the point where using the word in whatever context is a no-no because it's been associated with XYZ.
So I can say, oh my God, the president's such a moron.
You could say that, or Kelly's a moron, or whatever, because I'm not actually mentally disabled, okay? It's kind of like the word...
See, I never equated it with mentally disabled.
But it was. No, what I'm saying is back... This is the Nick, the show...
Better get a new dictionary.
Was actually at the turn of the century, and so... the turn of the 18th century, I think. And so words like moron and idiot is what they use to describe mentally disabled people, okay? So
Village idiot.
Yeah, like literally, village idiot.
The only gay in the village.
Right. Yeah. So the other word would be cripple. Like nobody would say cripple anymore. You would say physically disabled or, physically challenged or whatever.
I'm not even sure. A challenge is the word I've heard
physically
most
disabled.
Well, when I was younger, my mom used to be a teacher, and we were taught at a very early age that the worst possible thing you could ever call somebody is stupid. So any word that even cleaves close to that, I steer clear of. Mm-hmm. So, usually.
Called me stupid.
Well, that's
me stupid.
That's to your face.
So, yeah,
that's
those were friends,
that is to your face.
It's as we're saying all this, I'm just reminded. A lot of people get antenna TV on the cable networks.
Yes.
Watch an early episode of All in the Family.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe, or even the Jeffersons.
But
that was also part of the shtick. Number one, the era was different, but it was also part of the shtick was that Archie Bunker was supposed to be as offensive as could be.
And
he had a soft heart.
He had a soft heart, but he was outwardly, bombastic, and he was just as offensive. I mean, that was part of the shtick.
Compare that, interestingly to me, compare All in the Family to I Love Lucy. Now, they're different time periods, but Lucy got away. You never know what time period it's in. You never know what the weather is. You don't even know what holiday is going on. But they were able to have all this fun with people and our behaviors without ever uttering one word that was like off.
And the only one who was allowed to make fun of Ricky was Lucy.
Really?
No one else was allowed to make fun of his accent. She was the only one, which I thought was interesting.
Right.
None of the other characters were allowed to do it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's fascinating. And, they had this a couple weeks ago. They had the Carol Burnett 50th anniversary special.
1 year.
Yeah, and they had, it's a shame. Harvey Korman passed away, and he wasn't part of the, but I used to love him. But they were showing all these old sketches with her. And again, they were able to do stuff. And the stuff that came closest to me to be borderline was when she did Mama. Where Vicki Lawrence played the mother, and Carol Burnett was the daughter, and it was
became a sitcom.
It turned into a sitcom, yeah. But they talk about how they adopted these accents that they thought were appropriate for these characters that were so horrible and abysmal, and they happen to be like Southern
south of the Mason-Dixon line.
But even in our comedy, things are not what it seems to be.
I think what's changed though too is back then. So let's say what is that? The '60s we're talking about, right? Carol Burnett was
60s,
70s,
early 70s.
The world and specifically the United States wasn't as diverse. I mean, it just wasn't. It was a majority white Christian country at that time. We are no longer a majority Christian country now. Did you know that?
We're still majority.
No. We're no longer a majority Christian country.
I'll bet you on that.
I'm sorry. We're no longer a white Christian company.
We're still a Christian majority, but not Protestant. There's other they break them all up.
We're no longer a white Christian majority as of 2017. So there's black Christians, Baptists, and whatever. But so I'm going to get these numbers wrong, and I should know them. But like when Jimmy Carter was president, I'm making this up, it's like something like 84% of the country was white and Christian. And by the time Barack was president, it was like 52% of the population was white and Christian. And now it's below 50% for the first time ever. So
wow.
I'm not saying the majority of the country isn't Christian in terms of white Christians. So my point back to this is, back in the day when you were doing Archie Bunker, I Love Lucy, whatever, the rest of the world was mostly like you. If you were a white Christian person, there wasn't that many people to offend. So as we've changed, I think what's happened is our consciousness is
like, hey, we got to wrap up though.
Yeah. We didn't do our business executive summary.
Well, we have been doing. We've been having a freewheeling chat about the year. So, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
In the few minutes we have remaining, what do you recommend for listeners and business owners for a positive thing to focus on for 2018?
Oh, that's a hard one.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I've got a couple suggestions, but one I do. I actually have some suggestions. But the one is, and it's the simplest and easiest and low cost and no cost, and I think it's something that probably your listeners are doing anyway, which is serve your community and not just your customer. So doing good is the new cool. Okay.
Okay.
So doing good is the new cool. And by that, I mean, if you're a company or an organization, and I'm just examples, and you're doing a blood drive once a year, or you're picking up trash by the side of Delaware highways, or you're giving a scholarship to schools, or I was working with a very
support Little League, support Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
I was working with a very high-end hotel, and they had this like chef, like world famous chef. And he spent a day teaching disadvantaged kids who have never baked a cookie in their lives how to bake cookies,
See, I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the point is, everybody's doing that kind of stuff, but where I'm going with this is, if you are a listener, a small business owner, independent business owner, and you're doing whatever you're doing that's good, let people know. I mean, have a button on your website that has community events or community service or whatever you've done. But because your customers care about that. They don't want to just buy your product or service. They want to see your soul.
I'll do Star Wars viewing parties.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll watch.
I better come up with
I'll watch Star
Wars. Your community, your Star Wars
For
community.
those who have not seen the movie, I'll sit with you and I'll tell you all about C-3PO and R2-D2 and the guy all in black, Darth Vader.
Is there something about you that would surprise us that we don't know?
Yes.
Could you tell us?
Yes.
What?
I'm an introvert. So no. Wait, hear me out.
Bump. Where's the?
I know. Hear me out.
We need a drum kit.
Hear me out.
Thank you.
Most people think that the
Garrett.
words introvert and extrovert are about personality, right? You're either an extrovert.
Yeah.
Most people think that. They're actually not. The words introvert and extrovert, what it means is, where do you draw your energy and how do you recharge your battery? So extroverts draw their energy by being around other people that really energizes them, and introverts draw their energy by being alone.
I'm an introvert then too.
As we just went through the holidays, I was reading an article that was talking about how to identify the introvert in your family, and it'll say, because there's a lot going on at the holidays, right? Like lots of people.
Oh,
lots
yeah,
of cars.
yeah.
And it says you can always spot the introvert in your family because they're the ones who volunteer to do the dishes. They're the ones who volunteer to walk the dog because what they need is a break. So here's my point. I have a very extroverted personality. Like I'm an outgoing personality, so people assume I'm an extrovert. But my way of recharging is to get on that plane and be alone for a couple hours, or be in my hotel room and just regroup or whatever. So I'm good.
Oh.
So
right.
So that's something that most people don't understand. So my idea of hell on earth is sharing a hotel room with someone.
Oh, that's everybody's.
But I mean,
I think if you're an adult, that is everybody's.
But some
hell on
people
earth.
actually like.
No.
Some people like being around other people.
I've gone on cycling trips where I have to pay extra to be in my own room, but I
Worth
am
it.
not going to be in a
Worth
room
every
with a
penny.
stranger
Worth it.
who walks out of the bathroom and I'm going to go brush my
I don't
teeth.
even mean
And
a
it's,
straight. So
I'm
that's the
not
thing
gonna
that
say
people. What about you guys?
We don't have time.
we honestly don't. Yeah.
In the interest of time.
Yeah, really. Kelly, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for
we have to
having
wrap
me.
up. Hey, Tim, thank you for a great year. Garrett, John, and Allie, thank you for a wonderful year this year. 2018 is going to be fantastic. I'm not sure of that, but I'm pretty sure.
It's going to be fantastic. It's
We
going
want
to
to
be
thank
great.
everybody who's made this show possible, including our partner, Volkswagen of America. Check out VW.com and the People's First warranty, which is a 5-year cool thing. It's transferable with every car you buy. So with that, I'll say, don't text and drive, arrive alive. And Tim says that I had to say it with authority. We'll see you in 2018.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on SiriusXM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.